This week's video is going to be all about showing you everything you need to know about doing full overlay cabinetry. This is a vanity, so it's going to cover a plethora of scenarios, which is nice. It's going to have facade panels as well as fronts for drawers and door fronts. And I'm going to show you how I got a perfect overlay on all of these panels. So just for reference, this is the vanity that I'm replacing. It's about 20 years old, and when they decided to upgrade it, they also wanted to streamline the storage to suit their particular needs in that space. So what I decided to do was I designed a full overlay cabinet, but also cabinetry panels on the side for added hidden storage. That will be in next week's video, the hidden storage. For my build, I'm making this out of reclaimed lumber. I showed a couple weeks ago how I milled up all of this, but I mention that because I am milling this up to 3/4 of an inch. For this project, if you're also making doors or drawer fronts, all the hardware you're going to have is going to be compatible with 3/4 inch material. You can use any species you want, but it's important it's all a uniform size. So I'm going to start making the doors and the facade covers for the front as well as the side. I'm going to rip up my reclaimed wood in order to do that, but I'm going to probably only glue together the fronts because the side's a little more engineering, which you'll see if you watch the whole series. But I usually do inset doors on this channel because that's what's in vogue and what people want. But on this one, they're going to be overlay. So to make life a little bit easier for people watching along, I put some blue tape on the front to protect this pine, and then mapped out where all of my door overlays have to go. I have 1/4 inch spacing in between everything, and you could see I put the same spacing on the side. This door hinge will be 3/4 overlay, which will put me right about here. There were a couple aesthetic choices that they were keeping from the original cabinet, so the stiles match the original cabinet. They're 2 inches wide, and the rails were 1.5 inches, so I could rip all this stuff down to rough sizes and then map out all of my panels. They had phase frame mounted hinges. I don't know what brand they are, but the hinges mount on the phase frame, and they were 3/4 inch overlay. So once I put all of that on my blue tape, I could start with the door. I knew it was going to overhang the face frame 3/4 and go from there. So then the material I planned up for my inset panels is a little over 1/4 inch. So I have 1/4 inch dado stack in here, but I haven't mounted the fence slightly off center. So I could send it through one way, flip around and send it to the other way, which is the best way to get a centered groove, which is really important because when you go to put them together, if your groove's not centered, then you'll get a proud side on either side of your piece. And you could see I did multiple test cuts until I got that to fit in there just about perfectly. So at this point, most of my pieces are oversized. The only thing that's true to dimension is the stiles on the front side of the cabinet, because I knew exactly how big they were going to be. If this is your first time making doors, there's no shame in making them oversized and trimming them down. I've been doing this long enough. I made all of my pieces true to size, style-wise, and then the rails would have to be trimmed. But I machined all of my pieces enough to make all of the doors at once so that that groove fit perfectly on all of my pieces, which is really important. So even though there's trimming to be done, everything will have that centered groove. Then I could come back to my cabinet and you could see I could line up where the outside of the door is going to be. There is a 3/4 inch overlay, which is where that mark is on the right hand side. And then I can mark where my panel is going to be. And then I could come to the other side, and basically I just centered that vertical part of the face frame with a 1/4 inch gap, and that is how wide it's going to be. And I could use my pieces to mark where the groove is on both of those stiles and measure in between them to get my perfect width for my rails. I could cut my rails down to that size and then add the tenon on either edge. I did a bunch of test cuts in order to dial this in on scrap. I cut these on the radial arm saw. So now with that set up, I could go through on all of my panels, mark them out that way, make sure I have the perfect size rails, cut them down and add the tenon and start with my doors. I did all of these, made all of the doors at once because like I said, my blue tape was pretty much spot on for what I needed. But I started with the door first and mocked it up, and then if there's any indiscrepancies in your sizes, you can make changes at that point. So I'm going to advise people that are doing this for the first time or are novices, start with one door at a time. There's no shame in that. And if you have any changes, you can change them incrementally throughout your other panels. If everything's off even a little bit, your panels won't align, and then you won't have that look of all of the overlay lining up on the edges as well as that 1/4 inch. But like I said, I started with my bigger door. I did it, cut down those rails, added the tenon. You could see the dry fit here, and then I can mock it up on my frame, like I said, and then I can make sure it's going from pencil mark to pencil mark, from top to bottom. And if it is, then I started making my 3 drawer fronts because those are all identical. The hardest part of this process was because I'm doing reclaimed lumber, I had to mill up these panels in the middle, and a lot of the panels I had marks or knots in them, so getting enough material to make up those center panels was kind of a pain. You can see there's a lot of spots where knots blew out or nail holes, which I couldn't use for this, but I was able to get enough material, especially on these smaller panels, to get that look of having the reclaimed lumber in the middle. If you're not doing reclaimed lumber, especially paint grade is going to be the easiest. You can just go buy true 1/4 inch MDF. Poplar for the outsides is what I do for paint grade material. Stain grade material, if I'm not using reclaimed lumber, I usually use red oak. It's pretty inexpensive and it takes stain really well. But like I said, once I had the door done, I could go through off of my cut list, measure up the rest of my panels, glue together the panels that are going in the middle. That was also an added step, and then start assembling these. So the doors are pretty straightforward. Like I said, with that blue tape, I just measured all of my rectangles and made them true to size. If you're a novice, you can make your doors themselves a hair oversize, or if your cabinet is even a little bit out of square, your face frame's a little bit out of square, if you go to put square doors on an unsquare face frame, it's not going to line up as well. You can make them a little bit out of square and then trim them down. There's nothing wrong with that. For myself, with the door, once I had it lined up, I could glue it together, check my diagonals, and then put it in place. I mounted a scrap piece of wood on the bottom to make putting this in place a little bit easier, so I could prop it up against that blue tape, make sure everything is lined up. And like I said, I'm using face frame mounted hinges for this, which is what they have on the cabinet. These are 3/4 inch overlays, so you'll see as I slide it onto the panel, it overlays that face frame 3/4. Because there's no top and only half a back on this, I could easily mark where those hinges line up with the face frame from the inside of the cabinet. Take the panel off and then just screw them into place. Now I had these hinges in the shop, which means they're not going to be aligned perfectly. There's always some tweaking, which is why I left that original kind of right angle of blue tape there, so I could dial in those hinges so my overlay matches that blue tape perfectly. Once that was done, all the other doors I have glued up. I could go through and shim them out. I keep 1/4 inch stock and 1/8 inch stock in the shop, so I could double up the 1/8 inch stock and lay out all of my doors. Before I permanently attach them, you can see I'm checking to make sure not only do I have that 1/4 inch gap in the middle, the 1/4 inch gap in between, but also the fact that my 2 edges will line up with my panel up top, and also the top of my doors and the top of my drawers also align at this point. To attach the door fronts, I'm going to have the hardware once I go on site, so I'm just temporarily attaching them with some double-sided tape in the shop so I can get the alignment perfectly. So the double-sided tape will hold it in place long enough for me to sink some hardware into it. I can pop these out of their openings. I'll take that double-sided tape off, and then I drew a perimeter with a pencil before I did that. I could pop it back on place without the tape, and I just towed some brad nails into the front of it to hold it until the hardware goes through the front of it. And then that is how I did the doors. I did them all like this, worked my way up. And this is where, if you have oversized pieces, it can be helpful, because mine matched perfectly. Because like I said, my measurements on the blue tape were perfect. But if your drawers are a little bit high, that's where you can trim some of the top or the bottom. Then for the upper facade panel, this is a facade panel because the single sink pretty much comes right to the front of the cabinet. I just used some figure 8s to attach it because that's what I had in the shop. Once again, I'm using a 1/4 inch spacer to space it up, and this is where you could run into problems. That whole panel has to line up with the outside edges of the doors and the drawers. So mapping this out on blue tape helped save me in the shop, but it can also help save you, because that is how I got those perfect measurements. And you can see once everything's all aligned, how everything lines up perfectly. The perimeter of the overlay is perfect, as well as the 1/4 inch in between. Personally, I find full overlay to be easier than inset. It's a lot less work, but it can also be easy to screw up. And next week, and I thought I was going to squeeze this into this video, but I'm installing this on Tuesday, and I think these secret doors will make more sense in the context of them being in the bathroom. So that is what next week's video is going to be.